What happens when Hollywood's most grounded star walks into the lion's den of daytime television and refuses to back down from one of its most notorious hosts? What you're about to witness is the moment Mark Wahlberg completely dismantled Joy Behar's entire worldview in front of millions of viewers, leaving her speechless and scrambling for damage control. This wasn't just another celebrity interview gone wrong. This was a masterclass in how to handle media. Bullies who think they can steamroll their guests. The tension was palpable from the moment Mark Wahlberg stepped onto the View set. Joy Behar had been sharpening her claws all morning, having already made several snide remarks about Wahlberg during the opening segment. She had clearly done her homework, digging up every controversial moment from his past, every political stance that didn't align with her own liberal agenda. What she hadn't counted on was facing someone who wouldn't be intimidated by her usual tactics of interruption and condescension. As Wahlberg settled into his chair, straightening his jacket with the calm confidence of a man who had nothing to hide, Joy wasted no time launching her first attack. "So, Mark," she began with that familiar smirk that regular viewers knew meant trouble, "you've been very vocal about your faith recently. Some might say it's a bit hypocritical given your past behavior. How do you reconcile being this born-again Christian with some of the more questionable roles you've taken?" The other hosts shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Even they could sense that Joy was coming in hot, more aggressive than usual. Whoopi Goldberg shot her a warning glance, but Joy was already locked and loaded. Mark's response was measured, his voice steady. "Well, Joy, I think the beauty of faith is that it's about redemption and growth. I'm not the same person I was 20 years ago, and I hope I'm not the same person I'll be 20 years from now. My faith has taught me to be honest about my mistakes and to try to be better every day." Joy leaned forward. "But don't you think it's convenient timing? Your career hits a few bumps and suddenly you find, God, it seems like a pretty calculated move to me." The studio audience murmured. Mark's jaw tightened slightly, but he remained composed. "I found God long before any career bumps, Joy, but even if that weren't the case, I'm not sure why seeking something greater than yourself would be seen as calculated rather than human. Isn't that what we all do when we're struggling? Look for something to help us through?" Joy wasn't satisfied. "That's a nice soundbite, Mark, but let's talk specifics. You've made millions playing tough guys and action heroes, glorifying violence on screen, and now you want us to believe you're this peaceful, faithful family man. Which version of Mark Wahlberg are we supposed to believe?" Mark smiled. "You know what, Joy? I think you're asking the wrong question. The question isn't which version of me you should believe. The question is why you seem so invested in not believing that people can change for the better. What is it about the idea of redemption that bothers you so much?" Joy's eyes widened. "I'm not bothered by redemption, Mark. I'm bothered by phoniness. I'm bothered by celebrities who think they can rebrand themselves whenever it's convenient and expect everyone to just forget their past. And I'm bothered by people who seem determined to keep others trapped in their worst moments." Mark replied, "You talk about my past like it's some kind of gotcha moment. But everyone in this room has things they're not proud of. The difference is, most people don't have their mistakes broadcast for entertainment." The studio went silent. "I think there's a difference between accountability and public shaming," Mark continued. "You seem to confuse the two. Accountability is about taking responsibility and making amends. Public shaming is about keeping people down so you can feel superior. Which one do you think you're doing right now?" Joy flushed red. "I think I'm doing my job, which is asking tough questions." "No," Mark said quietly. "I think you're doing what you always do. You're trying to tear someone down because it makes good television. But here's the thing, Joy. I'm not going to play that game with you." Joy tried another angle. "Let's talk about your political views then. You supported certain candidates that I think most decent people would find abhorrent. How do you square that with this new Christian persona you're pushing?" Mark leaned back. "There it is." "There's what?" Joy snapped. "The real Joy Behar," Mark replied. "The one who thinks that anyone who doesn't share her exact political beliefs is somehow morally deficient. Tell me something, Joy. When did political disagreement become a character flaw?" "I never said that." "You didn't have to say it. It's in every word you've spoken since I sat down. You've decided that because I don't see the world exactly the way you do, I must be either stupid, evil, or fake. There's no room in your worldview for the possibility that good people can look at the same information and come to different conclusions. The other hosts were visibly uncomfortable. I respect different viewpoints, Joy insisted. Mark laughed. Joy, in the last 10 minutes, you've questioned my faith, my sincerity, my character, and my intelligence. All because I won't apologize for being who I am. If this is how you treat people you respect, I'd hate to see how you handle people you actually disagree with. I think you're being overly sensitive, Joy tried. Am I? Mark said. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you had a guest on this show who disagreed with you politically, and you didn't spend the entire interview trying to embarrass them or change their mind? Joy had no answer. Can you name one conservative guest you've treated with the same respect? You show your liberal guests? Just one? Joy stammered. I treat all my guests fairly. Do you, though? Because from where I'm sitting, it seems like you have two completely different interview styles. One for people who agree with you and one for people like me. Joy looked to her co-hosts, but no one came to her aid. Mark continued, Instead of asking me about my faith journey, you immediately questioned whether it was genuine. Instead of asking about my political views to understand my perspective, you labeled them abhorrent. You're not interested in having a conversation. Joy, you're interested in having a confrontation. Joy's breathing had quickened. I think you're reading too much into my questions. Mark smiled again. Maybe I am. Or maybe you're so used to getting away with this kind of behavior that you don't even realize you're doing it anymore. Tell me, Joy, do you actually enjoy interviewing people who disagree with you, or do you just enjoy making them uncomfortable? Joy blinked, caught off guard. I enjoy challenging people, she said finally. Challenging them or attacking them, because there's a difference. Joy looked lost. Mark's voice softened. I want you to think about something. Tonight, when you go home and you're away from the cameras and the pressure, ask yourself a simple question. Are you proud of the person you were today? Not the host, not the character, but the person. Joy's composure cracked. A tear rolled down her cheek. Mark said, I forgive you for the ambush, for the attacks. I forgive you because I understand that hurt people. But more importantly, I hope someday you'll be able to forgive yourself for becoming someone you probably never intended to be. He stood up and straightened his jacket. Joy, I genuinely hope you find some peace. And to your viewers, I hope you'll remember that behind every public figure is a human, been trying their best. Maybe we could all try treating each other that way. He walked off the set in silence. The damage was done.